Welcome to 100 Yards of Football this morning. It's my college football legend video. It's Barry Krauss, linebacker out of the University of Alabama. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards Football, and I'm your host, Vincent Turner. So let me talk about this young man from the University of Alabama, Barry Krauss. I don't think gets a lot of respect of being one of the top college linebackers that played this game. The first knowledge I had of Barry Krauss was when Alabama played UCLA in the 1976 Liberty Bowl. Watching that game, and of course the game is in my hometown, the 901, Memphis, Tennessee. I remember in that football game, a UCLA team that came in highly ranked. They had Jerry Robinson, they had Wendell Tyler, Theodis Brown, Jeff Dankworth. And it was heavily favored over an Alabama team that didn't really have, by standards, a great Alabama season. Had lost to Georgia that year, I believe, 21-0. But what stuck out in that game was a young man that returned the interception 44 yards for a touchdown. And that was Barry Krauss. At the time, he was a sophomore. But the most important thing I took about that play is how he was able to read the play as an inside linebacker. And then the hands. He caught the ball and took it to the house, and it changed that football game when Alabama ended up beating UCLA 33-6. And it set the tone for that team. They ended up winning the national championship my freshman year when I was attending the University of Arkansas. But let's move on about Mr. Krauss. When you're talking about a linebacker at the college level, he had all the greats about him. The skill set, the instincts, A+. The tackling ability, A+. The aggression, A+. The range, A+. The burst, A+. And the ball reactions, A+. Playing linebacker at the University of Alabama, Barry Krauss had it all. And think about this. When people talk about them linebackers that played at Alabama, they say Cornelius Bennett, they say Derek Thomas, they say Thomas Boyd, they say Dante Hightower, they say C.J. Mosley, they say Rashad Evans, they say Mac Wilson, they say Leroy Jordan, and recently they was talking about Christian Harris. But let me tell you something. Barry Krauss can easily be in that top 3 list that I just announced. That's how good football play he was at the University of Alabama. And then think about the defenses that he played with at Alabama, the players. E.J. Jr., Curtis McGriff, Wayne Hamilton, Don McNeil, Randy Scott, Rick Ringo, and Marty Lyons. We just recently watched a defense that everybody said might be one of the best of all time, the University of Georgia. Well, that 78 defense that had Barry Krauss and that Alabama team that won the national championship, player to player, in my eyesight, could really match up with this Georgia defense. Athleticism, people strong in the middle, and people that can cover on the outside. And it was technically sound. Real disciplined football team. And the guy that led is the young man right there on the screen, Barry Krauss. His college awards were unbelievable. 2-time All-American, 1977, 1978. All-SEC, 1977, 1978. Liberty Bowl MVP as a defensive player. But the Sugar Bowl MVP. And I don't know if they had another defensive player. I know here recently they haven't had a defensive MVP in 75 years of that great bowl game. Then Mr. Krauss, after him winning that national championship that year, went on became the first-round pick of, at the time, the Baltimore Colts. Became the Indianapolis Colts. And he played 11 years in the league, finished his career up in his home, near his hometown. He's from Pompano Beach. Finished up with his hometown team, the Miami Dolphins. Then in the NFL, he had 8 sacks, career sacks, 6 interceptions, and played in 152 games. Played 10 years, excuse me, I said 11. But this is the thing that really amazed me. He was a first-round pick, like I said, in the 1979 draft with Joe Montana. But he's always going to be remembered. The play. I was at home on Christmas break. That great Sugar Bowl game, 1979, Penn State and Alabama. Penn State coming in ranked number 1. Alabama number 2. That game going back, forth. And Alabama with that great goal line stand. 4th and about an inch. Penn State had that swagger, that disrespect, because they said they were going to run the ball on 4th down. And Chuck Fusina gives it to Mike Gooman. Mike Gooman goes up. And who hits him dead on the button? And he knocks himself out of the game. One of the greatest college football plays of all time. My man, Mr. Barry Krauss. See, one thing about me, I know this college football history. I'm 61 years old, man. And I've seen a lot of great college football over my time. The 60s, Michigan State, George Webster, Bubba Smith, Notre Dame, Rocky Bly, Alan Page. The Ohio State, the 68 Super Sophomores with Rex Kern, Jack Tatum, John Brockington, Jim Steelwagon, the great man from Galileo High School, O.J. Simpson, run that thing with USC in 67. The great Tony Dorsett in the mid-70s. With Pitt, Herschel Walker coming on the scene from Ricefield, Georgia. Buck Bellew leading Georgia to a national championship. The great Clemson team with Homer Jordan, Jeff Bryant, a freshman at William Perry. But this young man right here, Barry Krauss, it's another great moment in college football history. You can go on YouTube. It's one of the most watched plays in college football history and, of course, in the University of Alabama history. This young man is always going to have the lore of that play. And I hope that he always able to reminisce, because there's something special about college football and about players like Barry Krauss. One more time with Mike Gooman trying to go over the top, who meets him head on and knocks himself out of the game. He laid there for about 3 minutes, gets up and run off the field, and Alabama wins the national championship. Bear Bryant is carried off the field, and all you can hear is dun 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 dun. That's why even though Alabama lost the national championship this year, their football tradition is bar none. And this young man, Barry Krauss, out of the state of Florida, had a big part of it with his play in the 1979 Sugar Bowl. My final words about Barry Krauss, and I had to come up with something special. The Rock of Ages by one of my favorite bands back in the mid-'80s, Def Leppard. The Rock of Ages. All right, I got something to say. Yeah, it's better to burn out. Yeah, than fade away. Barry Krauss, on that great evening, on the surface of the Sugar Bowl, 1979, he had something to say to Mike Gooman. And you know what something to say was? Bye, y'all! I stopped you! We get the ball back, and we win the national championship. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. Special thanks to my producer who's making it happen this morning, my man, Mr. Logan Landers. Y'all enjoy the rest of the day. The University of Alabama, Barry Krauss. Go back and look at it on YouTube and bring that play off. 4th and 1, 1979 Sugar Bowl. Y'all be blessed.